So when you receive your KB cuticle scissors, you will either have ordered the singular item, which is where you'll have your curved cuticle scissors or your straight cuticle scissors, and they will be in a singular box, or the full cuticle kit box, which contains the 2 pairs of scissors, the curved cuticle scissors, the straight cuticle scissors, and the cuticle brusher. You will notice that both cuticle boxes have a colour coordinated black ribbon, and this is to make it easier when you're working to know what tool you are picking from each box. You will also receive your care card. Your care card will be specific for each tool that you have. So this is the scissor range, and you will see it's got recommended storage, use, how to look after them. And on the back you will see that you've got your manufacturer's instructions and recommendations for your cleaning of your tools. It's important to follow all these instructions and also follow our recommendations in this video to make sure that you get the best out of your tools. So we're now going to open the singular cuticle scissor box. So I'm just going to remove this sleeve, and you can see that your tools are stored in this lovely box, and this foam keeps your tools safe. We're going to take out the scissors, and here we've got the straight cuticle scissors. You'll see here that it has a plastic tab, and this is to keep your blades safe. It's really important that when you are not using the tools that you keep this plastic tab on. It just pops off, and you can then close the scissors and slide it back on again to store safely in your box. If you were to drop the scissors, this plastic tab is going to protect them. It's also going to protect them from getting knocked against anything else as well. So when you are placing your scissors in and out the box, you must take care when you are closing and opening the box, and that you don't accidentally get your scissors like this and trapped, as it could cause damage to your tools. So we're now going to just take that out of the box, remove the plastic tab as if we were going to work. So where you hold the scissors is really important. This area here where you've got the grooves, this is your finger rest. And this is here, this provides an anti-slip function, so when you're using the tool, your fingers stay where they are. It's also important that you do make sure that you use these finger rests and not the other parts of the scissor when you're working, as you will cause damage to the delicate handles. So this bit is toughened, and this can take the pressure, where this bit is just the handle that attaches the spring leaf together. So you should never be holding your scissors at this area, as it will prematurely damage and wear your scissors. You've got the stopper here, and that stops wear here on the scissors. When you are holding them, you can either hold them with 2 fingers like this as a tweezer function, or you can have your index, middle finger and your thumb like this. It's important that you don't hold them like this in your whole hand. These scissors are delicate and don't need a lot of pressure to be effective and work. If you are used to nippers, you will find it a little bit strange at first to adapt to just such a light pressure for effective results. So you can just take them out of the box and practice like this. And even if you just practice with some paper or something, just to get used to the function of holding these scissors. The other parts of the scissor you've got are the pivot point here, which is holding the scissors together. You will see with the cutting, and these scissors have been used a lot from my own kit, there is no wear here, and this means the alignment is perfect, and that gives you a good quality scissor. You've got the blades, the tip. It's really important, as we've said earlier, that you take care of this tip, because this is going to help the blades align up. And if you drop these or cause any damage, you will find that your scissors will not cut very effectively. We've then got the spring leaf here, which actually can be a little bit tricky, but it undoes. So your scissor can undo like this. This is really important when you are disinfecting and sterilising your tools. By opening it like this, your scissors can fully open, and this means that the disinfectant and the sterilising machine is able to fully sterilise all of the tool. If we keep them closed like this, there may be residue in here that it won't catch. They then just easily pop back in, ready to use again. So when we are using these scissors, it is important that we refresh ourselves with the understanding of what the cuticle is. We should never work on living tissue and only make sure we remove true cuticle. It is personal preference whether you prefer the straight or the curved cuticle scissors. Now what we need to do is we need to take our KB curved cuticle scissors. And you can see how small this blade is to work on this small delicate area. I don't advise using old-fashioned nippers because they cause a tearing action and they're too large. The blades are too large to be using on this delicate area. So what we need to now look at is what we should and shouldn't remove. And if we look here, this white bit sticking up, that is the cuticle and we want to remove it. What we do not want to cut is this strip here, and this is living tissue. If you are ever unsure, always err on the side of caution and do not remove it. This will come with time and confidence. So to remove this, how we cut this is we bring the scissors in on their side, get what we need to remove inside, and then turn the blade upways and cut. By working in this action, if we cut like this, we could accidentally force the blade into another part of the skin. If we get what we need to remove and turn it, the point is always then facing upwards and you are much less likely to accidentally cut your client. Just do a little bit at a time. There's no need to go around the whole nail in one go. And you'll find it will just be certain areas where you need to remove. We have a hangnail here, so we can remove this. And here there's a white flaky patch sticking up here and here, and we will remove these in the same way. Any dry skin that you can see on that eponychium and the keratinized proximal fold will be removed when we use the scrubs and the oils. You can actually see on this thumbnail where the client actually picks their cuticle. The other scissors in the range are the form tailoring range. So we've got the singular box where we've got the curved cuticle scissors in here, and the form tailoring here where we have the curved cuticle scissors, the straight cuticle scissors and the white gel pen. For the form tailoring products, you can see the white ribbon to highlight that white correlates to form tailoring products. So we're going to take the curved cuticle scissors here. I'm going to pop these out of the box. You can see you've got the sleeve, and this is going to then protect your scissors as you're working. Take the scissors out, we've got the plastic tab which we will remove to work, and then we will keep that in the box and place it back on again when we're ready to pop those away to keep them safe. On these scissors, they are a slightly larger version than your cuticle tool range. You will see that they have the same makeup. So here we've got the finger rest and finger grip to work on, and we still work the same with the 2 fingers on top and the thumb. We've got the stopper here, the spring leaf, which just like the cuticle scissors we can open for when we're cleaning the product. When we've finished using our scissors, we will pop back the plastic tab and place them in our box for storage. Make sure you've got them right in the foam and close the box, ready to store. So if you have some of the larger boxes and the smaller boxes, they actually stack up well. So you can see here the 2 smaller boxes fit on top of the larger box. So you can use these as stackable boxes, and they're easy to have at the side of your nail desk to work from. When storing your scissors, it's important that you ensure that you have separate storage for all of your tools. You should never store your tools like this together, especially with all the plastic tabs off, because you can see how they're knocking into each other, and what that's going to do is actually damage the tools. What you must ensure that you do is you have 1 tool per box, or if it's one of the multi-boxes, you have each box in its own designated area, and this will keep your tools safe and secure.
I am now going to meet this up to the nail. So I'm not being forceful, I'm just placing it. And I don't want to do this, and I don't want to, there's a small gap just here. If I wanted to try and make it fit the nail, I might be tempted to apply it downwards. And what's going to happen is we're going to end up with a large wedge of product here, and the free edge is going to be much thicker than we want the desired result to be. So we must place out the free edge, and we must tailor this form now to remove any of the gaps that we've got. We don't want gaps, because what happens if we get gaps like this, the product will actually fall down here. And if it falls down here and it's touching the skin, we're going to cause overexposure, and we're going to cause potential allergies, which, as we know, is a massive problem in the industry at the moment. Also, what you're going to then get is a little lip and a ridge at this join point here. And this is going to give the client something to pick on, to catch, and you'll get issues with the longevity and premature cracking. So the easiest way, and my top tip for how to tailor a form, is to get a white gel pen. And this white gel pen actually comes as part of the form tailoring kit. So the form tailoring kit, you get the curved scissors, you get the straight scissors, and you get the white gel pen. So the reason I use this white gel pen, I'm just removing the lid, I'm now going to use this white gel pen to draw around the shape of the free edge of the client's nail. The reason I use a white gel pen as opposed to black is we don't want to be having black on the form, because that's going to just play havoc and it's going to cause staining problems and issues. The reason I use a gel pen is that it glides along the form without denting it. If you use a biro, it will actually dent that form, and then when you apply your product, it will sit in that ridge. So I can guess, but what happens is you end up guessing, and it's just a guessing game. So it's very important that you actually draw around it, and it just makes your life so much easier. So I'm now going to remove this form, and I'm going to take the curved scissors. And as you can see, the nice small blade makes this so much easier. So I am going to go from left to right because I'm left-handed. These scissors have been designed to be able to be used left or right-handed, which is great for us nail techs as well when we're doing our own nails, because, as you know, we have to become ambidextrous, so we need to be able to use left and right-handed tools. And you can see how easily that cuts out. I haven't got tearing to my form paper, the cut was smooth, and now when I offer this up to the free edge, it completely closes all the gaps. Now, if I apply the product on like this, what we're going to get is actually quite a flat C curve, and also it could flare out here because it's not tucking under nicely due to the finger. So what we need to do is we need to cut our 45-degree relief cuts to tuck that form and to be able to close it fully and get a really tight C curve. So Our natural nail, the corner points start here and here. And what we want to do is we want to cut from that point. So you can create a dent with your nails, you could make a mark with the pen, or I prefer to just do one tiny little snip with my scissors. And you can cut on, and these are lovely sharp and thin, so you can glide in. I just prefer to pop the form off very quickly. And then I can also show you the side view, and I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to cut. And on this form, it's to the 3, so that is a 45-degree angle. And I'm actually cutting, as you can see, all the way down here. Now, a lot that will do relief cuts, and when I first started, I also did this. You would cut just a small relief cut. I'm just going to demonstrate why I cut such a deep one. So I'm going to apply this form back onto the nail. And if I turn to this side, as I now try and close that, it's got resistance because the finger's in the way. If I turn to this side, just open that one, I'm going to show you, I'm able to close that right round and I get a really, really tight C curve. So that's the reason that I do such a deep cut, and I find it much easier. So I'm now cutting the other side equally. It's important that you cut it at exactly the same angle. If your client has particularly fleshy fingers, so sometimes we get nail biters and they've got the very fleshy pads of fingers, you'll need to actually make that cut a little bit deeper so your form goes past the fleshy sides. I'm now offering that up. I'm now doing the wings. I'm going to open the tabs and I am going to now press this together and secure it underneath. Make sure that for a square nail that you do not taper it. So I go no higher than this dark pink. I also squeeze just there where the client's finger starts, and it's not painful. You can just feel that it really secures that form under their nail. Sometimes then you can use your scissors here just to make sure that you tuck those corners of the form right under the nail. And you can fit, this is really secure, because that is the perfect form fit from the tailoring of that form.
Cleaning our nail tools correctly is really important for success and longevity with your tools, and to ensure you don't cross-contaminate any of your customers. All of our metal tools can be sterilised. They can be sanitised, disinfected and sterilised in a hospital approved grade autoclave. So every so often, especially on your form tailoring scissors, what you can get is a build up of the glue on your scissors. And when you're trying to use them, you'll find they aren't as effective as normal. So every so often, I would just recommend taking a disinfectant wipe, a baby wipe or anything, just to remove some of that glue residue, and they'll be working perfectly again. I don't recommend the wipes as an alternative to sanitation or disinfection. I just do this to remove some of the debris prior to sanitation, disinfection and sterilisation. So first of all, we must understand the difference between sanitation, disinfection and sterilisation. So when we want to sanitize our tools, the first step for this is washing our tools with a warm soapy water. So you can get the tools like this and wash them, and you can get the little nail brushes as well to scrub the warm soapy water. You can also do it with the scissors open like this. It is your preference. Government legislation states that wipes are only a sufficient sanitation if they contain higher than 60% ethanol alcohol. They do not, however, disinfect or sterilise, so you must only use these as a first step sanitation method. Disinfectants must always be used in line with the manufacturer's instructions. So methods of disinfection will include hospital grade and approved disinfection solutions such as barbicide or Mundo. So you can get different kinds of disinfectants. So today I'm going to demonstrate with the Mundo Rapid Instrument and Tool Disinfectant. So this is a ready to use liquid, so we don't have to worry about mixing it. It is important that you always thoroughly read the whole entire label on your disinfectant or your sanitation product and follow the manufacturer's instructions to a T. For example, let's look at this Mundo solution. So first of all, we must wash the tools and instruments in clean water. So this is where we will use the soap and water to remove any debris, and then we will rinse the tools in clean water afterwards to remove any soapy residue. You then immerse in the Mundo Rapid Instrument and Tool Disinfectant, ensuring that all surfaces are covered. So here we've got a disinfectant tool tray, and this is what I recommend when disinfecting your tools rather than using a jar, because if we refer back to this point, immerse in rapid instrument and tool disinfectant, ensuring that all surfaces are covered. If we use a jar, what happens is we pop the scissors in here and maybe half to 3/4 of your tool will be submerged. Now we've only used this part on the customer. We may have worn gloves or we may not have worn gloves, but we could still be touching this area, and this part, the handle and the other part of the scissors, can still pick up contaminants. So it's important that you fully submerge the whole entire tool, and this is why I recommend the disinfectant tray, which I shall show you shortly. And if we go back to reading the manufacturer's instructions, on this particular product, so sometimes the ready to use and the ones that you mix the solution yourself, they will have different instructions. For this particular product, leave for a minimum of 5 minutes. For full effectivity, leave for 30 minutes. So this is quite a different product to the ones where you mix yourself, which are to be submerged in the liquid, usually for anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes. Okay. It is important, you can see that it's in bold, do not exceed this time. What happens if you exceed this time is that you can cause damage to your tools, and this is where you'll find that you get premature rusting and damage to your tools. Your tools are not meant to be left in the solution for more than your manufacturer's recommended time. It's important never to do this. So with these, you will allow to dry in a paper or cloth, or you could also dry these off yourself. I always recommend using a clean cloth to dry these yourself, to avoid leaving it on a towel where the water will be on it, and it could again cause some rusting. So it's important to make sure the right metals are matched with the solution. So here, do not use with brass, copper, aluminium parts or colour-coded instruments. Colour-coded instruments have a coating on, and what that coating does is it can have problems when disinfectant and sterilising solutions are added. So this is why all of our tools are stainless steel and they are in their purest form, and this allows the best disinfectant and sterilisation procedures, because there's no colour coating that could get damaged, and then also that can rust and that could start wearing off and cause issues with your tools. So we are now going to use the disinfectant solution in our disinfectant tray. As you can see, this opens and this part comes up and down. So we would place our tools in here, and then when we close it, they then submerge in the liquid. So you need to make sure that you've got enough liquid to submerge your tools fully. We would then open this, and we would be able to remove our tools. We'd allow them to dry, and then we'd be able to sterilise them. So as I said, I recommend opening your tools fully like this to make sure every part of it is coated. So I'm just going to pop this out. I'm going to take my Mundo Rapid Instrument and Tool Disinfectant pre-mixed, and I am going to pour it in the bottom of this tray. I'm going to place enough in there to ensure that all the tools will be submerged when I close the box. So we could just do a test with one to check, and you can see that that tool is submerged. So you can do a couple of tools at a time or one at a time to suit you, and this is easy to do in between customers. It can be good practice to have a couple of sets of different tools to work with, so one set can be disinfecting and the other set can be being used on your client, so you're never without your tools. And pop the cuticle pusher in. So I just want to just hold that straight so I can line these up so all surfaces of the tools can be disinfected. And then close it. Now this will be submerged for 30 minutes, following the manufacturer's instructions on the Mundo Rapid Instrument and Tool Disinfectant. So once those tools have been submerged for the correct time, I'm going to take some tissue. So you could take a soft paper towel, a towel. We're going to remove these and we're going to place them on here to allow them to dry. We're going to discard that liquid and we're going to follow the manufacturer's instructions on how to dispose of the solutions. So we can leave them like this, or what we can do is we can get another towel and we can fully dry these off. Once these have been disinfected and they are fully dry, you can pop them back to safely store them in your box. It's important to make sure they have been thoroughly dry before you do this, because trapping any damp in this box will cause damage and rusting to your tools. All of these products must be bought from reputable manufacturers and not third-party retailers, as there's no way of being sure of its effectiveness. So we recommend the MBO autoclave. It's a hospital approved grade autoclave, and what it will do, it sterilises your tools in just 7, 15 or 30 minutes. So it's really good for a turnover of your tools to make sure that they are sterilised, ready for your next customer. Whilst in the UK, it is not legislation that you have to sterilise. We do recommend it because, as already mentioned, it is the only form of cleaning that will guarantee that all bacteria, virus, fungal and spore forms are eliminated and killed. So what are our tools made of? All of our metal tools are made from Japanese surgical stainless steel. And why do we choose this? Well, stainless steel's chromium content is largely responsible for increasing the item's corrosive resistance because it prevents the iron from oxidising. And this is when you will find that you get premature rusting on nail tools. If there is no oxidation, then there's no opportunity for rust to develop. Our tools are also chromium coated, and this is where we get this finish to provide an additional layer of protection. Japanese surgical steel is a higher density steel, making for a smoother surface, giving a finer, sharper edge that resharpens well. It is very resistant to corrosion and has a high carbon content. Our tool range is made from Japanese surgical stainless steel as the most corrosion resistant form of stainless steel on the market. Take care as you're working to ensure that the blades of the scissors, when you are working and you place them down at the side to work, that the blades are always facing upwards, never down like this. And also we don't want to be having our tools like this where our customer could accidentally hurt themselves, or we are going to be also causing potential damage to our scissors. So always work directly from your box, or have something like a tool rest where you can safely have your tools rested and lined up in their working order with the blades facing the correct direction. If you drop your tools and you create a dent or your tips have blunted, you will need to seek the advice of a professional. Even a tiny bit of damage can get worse if you keep using them without checking. A drop may mean that they need a service or sharpen, or it may make them redundant to use. You could also cause tearing on your client's skin, so it's important that you replace these or get them serviced or sharpened. There is never such thing as a tool or scissor that will never need sharpening, regardless of the quality, cost or guarantees. All scissors must be sharpened when they get damaged, dull or nicked. And by nature of repetitive use, tools will blunt over time. Think of your kitchen knives, including the most expensive. They will all require sharpening to keep them in optimum condition to guarantee the best results at all times. If you use this when it is blunt, it will cause more pressure to be required and result in tearing rather than a smooth cutting motion. The same principles can be applied to your nail tools. The time frame on this is dependent upon the amount of use, care and storage and any damage that may have occurred. However, annually can be good practice. It is paramount never to sharpen professional scissors at home using any methods you may have read upon the internet. Seek a professional sharpener experienced with tools that you are using. They use different kinds of plates and machines for different tools. If we look on these scissors, so how to spot damage, you can see when I close these, the blades don't line up correctly, and this is because these have been dropped. The lower blade has moved out of place. If we try and use these, they will not be effective and they will end up tearing the form paper and they will be ineffective. And also if we use these near the skin, what's going to happen is we are likely to tear the surrounding tissue. So it's important if our tools look like this and have been damaged that we replace them or we get them serviced and sharpened to make sure that they are in their optimum condition. Whilst you can use our form tailoring range for cuticle work, if you prefer a slightly larger blade like this, we do always recommend our curved cuticle scissors. You can see the difference in size, and if we compare that to the delicate cuticle area, you can see that the small ones will perform better and be safer to use. However, if you do prefer the large blade, that is fine to use, but what we recommend and we must stress is that you use one pair for form tailoring and one pair for cuticle work. By cutting paper, what will happen is you will blunt the scissors more quickly. So when you use scissors to cut forms, all paper products contain minerals that are abrasive and they will eventually dull even a razor sharp pair of scissors. The clay and ground calcium carbonate are quite hard, and these are what can then destroy a pair of scissors that are not designed to be used with them. This means over time the scissors that are used to cut paper will blunt and need sharpening quicker than tools that aren't used for this. When working on an area as delicate as the cuticle area, using a blunter pair of scissors can make them more prone to causing damage due to the additional force required. So this is why that we recommend always keeping a different set of tools for their designed purpose. We often get asked when to use each tool of these blades on our scissors. Simply put, cut curved lines, and cut straight lines. There is also a matter of personal preference and results wanted to achieve, but these are our recommendations. The curved blade has the sharpest point of the scissor facing upwards, and this allows you to follow the natural contours of the cuticle zone to remove cuticle and hangnails without worrying about damaging the surrounding or underlying skin. When tailoring forms with the curved blade, it allows you to follow the natural contours and shape of the nail's free edge, which is curved. This saves time versus trying to achieve curves using straight scissors. The curved blades are ideal for making controlled cuts because they can be closed without the user needing to worry about accidentally cutting surrounding tissue. Straight scissors are required to achieve a straight line, such as when wishing to cut nail art items or relief cuts on the nail form. And they also leave a smoother outline of finish when wishing to achieve straight cuts.